again, friends. Matt Relay here. Today we will talk about some patterns that you can apply called triplets, fours, and skips to the various scales that you've learned. Triplets, fours, and skips are very good fundamental building blocks for seeing how to build patterns for improvising solos, and can give you ideas for writing melodies and things like that. So let's dive right in. Let's do some triplets, fours, and skips. Okay, so for today's lesson, we're going to use an A major scale. If you've watched my previous videos about the 6 major scale shapes, we're going to be using scale shape 6-1. But if you don't know what that means, we're essentially using the major scale shape that has the root on the 6th string with our first finger. And since we're doing A major, the 5th fret is A, and so that's going to be where our root is. So the first pattern we're going to talk about is triplets. And what triplets are is it breaks down the entire scale into groups of 3 and continues ascending through the scale in those groups of 3, getting higher and higher each time. So, for example, we're going to start from the first note, the root, and play 3 notes in order of the scale. From there, we're going to go back 1 note, and we're going to do 3 notes from the note we go back to. So since we ended on pinky on the 9th fret of the E string, in this case we go back to our 2nd finger on the 7th fret and play 3 notes ascending from there. So far the pattern looks like this. Now we go back a note again and play 3 notes from there, which will be our pinky. Back a note again and up 3 notes. Back a note again and up 3 notes. Do you kind of see the pattern there? So basically what it looks like is this. Let me do the whole thing for you a little faster. Backwards. Now here's that same pattern a little bit faster. Now, I was picking every note, but you could also try using legato techniques so you can play even faster. Changes the aesthetic of the sound, but it might be cooler depending on what you're going for. So here's what it would look like legato going backwards. So there I'm not picking every note, but I'm using pull-offs to help increase the speed. So those are triplets. Let's move on to what I call fours. So fours are the same concept, but we break down the major scale into groups of 4. So the first group of 4, starting from the lowest note of our 6-1 scale, A major, is. Now in this case, we have to go back 2 notes because we want to do a group of 4 ascending from each scale degree of the entire pattern. And so we started off by playing A, B, C sharp, and D. And now we go back to B. Now back 2 notes to our pinky on C sharp. Now back to our first finger on 5th fret D. So far here's what we have. So here's ascending through the entire scale. And then backwards. Here's a little bit faster. And then again, you could try to use legato techniques to be even faster using pull-offs. So those are fours. Let's move on to skips, our final pattern. So skips are essentially moving up the scale in ascending thirds. And so thirds are synonymous with skips because you skip one of the scale degrees every time you go up a third. So if we start in the root note A on the 5th fret, we skip our second finger on B and go up to our pinky on C sharp on the 9th fret. So the first skip looks like this. Now in this case, we go back one note to the second scale degree and do a skip from there, from B to D. 7th fret of the low E string to 5th fret of the A string. So the first two skips look like this. Now we go back to our pinky on C sharp and do a skip from there. Back a note, skip. So we're going to go back a note again and skip. So here's the pattern so far, slowly. A little bit faster, skips sound like this. And backwards. Okay, so those are all the patterns, triplets, fours, and skips that we're going to talk about today. Now, like I said, we used an A major scale with our first finger on the 5th fret of the low E string to play it. But you can do this on any scale. So if we were playing an A minor pentatonic scale, we could do triplets. Or fours. And of course, skips too. And of course, skips too. So, triplets, fours, and skips. I think you can kind of see how those can really help inspire you with some ideas, whether it's building melodies or just solo ideas, little things like that. And from there, you can, obviously you don't want to sound like you're doing an exercise when you're playing a solo, but you start to use little bits and pieces of those things to help you put together ideas. So maybe I could start backwards with triplets. And then maybe four. So just a way to give you some tools to use when you're improvising and just help you while simultaneously getting your fingers a lot more versatile and putting them through some exercises and finger gymnastics, so to speak. So hope you guys learned something cool today. Don't forget to check out my other videos at Matt Relay, mattrelay.com, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Matt Relay. All right, guys, have a good day.